when you sit and you look at the cerebral cortex, okay, that right there is a really good example of what I'm talking about. And then you have the thalamus in your brain. Um, these parts of your brain actually do amazing things. Now, when it comes to information, okay, like say you're in a crowded room and it's really noisy, okay, and one person's trying to talk to you, your brain will take and it'll decide what information is useful and what information isn't useful, and it will disregard all of the information that's not useful. So what that and it'll keep the stuff that is useful, and what that does is it'll block out the background noise so that you can focus on the person who's trying to talk to you. Okay. Now, when you go to bed at night, it does the same basic function. Now, when you go to bed at night, your brain is literally sorting through all of the information that you collected within the day, and it's saying, and this is useful. We're going to keep this and we're going to throw this away. And what it keeps, it puts into your long-term memory. Now, I personally feel that is actually, there's a positive side and a negative side to that. But the positive side to that is it's a gatekeeper. You know what I mean? It's allowing you to retain the things in your mind that your brain is capable of handling. Because if you tried to retain all the information that you find throughout the day, then you could honestly have a meltdown, like a computer just frying. You know what I mean? There are some things that the human brain isn't capable of dealing with. You know what I mean? We just can't process it. So our brain has a safeguard inside of it that prevents us from gathering too much information that we're not capable of. So sometimes when we see things, we have to ask ourselves, is that really what we saw, or is it what our brain was able to allow us to comprehend? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, the perception, which is the general gist of what I've taken from that, perception is an amazing thing. You can't change reality. Believe me, I've tried. I've tried this, believing a certain thing and pushing for it and asking for it, and it just doesn't change. So my perception has changed immensely since I started on this quest. I understand different things now than I understood before. So my perception has opened, and it's opened to people not always, because I used to be incredibly material until I met my wife, and then that all just drifted away, and then all this started happening to me. So I was more open to there being nicer people, because being a DJ, all your friends are very self-centered and very narcissistic. That's the DJing world, whether you're on radio or whether you're on in a nightclub or going out and doing a wedding. It's a very narcissistic world. So that's what I knew, and that's what I've been doing for years. But my wife introduced me to a whole world where people are trustworthy and nice. So, and then all of a sudden I started to change. I started to soften as a person when I understood that all this, according to quantum physics, all this isn't real. This is just, as John said, a collection of atoms, a collection of energy in a particular shape that doesn't exist when we're not there. It's our perception that we think it's there. Perception can change within a split second, but reality doesn't. It's not that malleable.
Yeah, that is true. Especially when it comes to what I was talking about with the thalamus, now it's still like they really don't know the full function of how the thalamus works, and it's actually the gray area within the brain, you know. But what they have found out about it is that this part of your brain, it deals with freaking rhythms, you know what I mean, that are inside of your brain, and wavelengths. And then they've also started figuring out like there's well, like theta is a good theta, theta waves is a good example of it. I was talking about deep sleep and everything, and then they what they've found out is um, well, like the how I was telling about the memories and stuff. Now they've also found out that there's similar um, behaviors in nature too. Like there's patterns that come out of these vibrations within the brain that matches up with nature. You know, like when you take it and you look at birds who migrate for the wintertime. You know what I mean? That's a that's a pattern that is kind of like the patterns that are going on inside of your brain. You know what I mean? Also, alpha waves. That would be the equivalence of like predator prey relationships, where a certain predator would control the population of a prey, you know, and they're very, very similar, you know, because your brain is organizing and throwing this away and keeping this, and that has to do with your alpha vibrations and stuff like that. So I do find that a lot of it is physical, spiritual, and emotional. It's all three of them combined. There can't be one without the other. You know, they have to really they have to work together. You know, in my opinion.
And the chakras are important as well. They're often overlooked by people. They're linked to your bottom three chakras are linked more to your physical well-being, but all of the chakras are linked in some way to physical well-being. Emotional things, addictions. I think it's your base chakra is linked to if you know different things like that. Addictions. You could be nymphomaniac. It's all linked to all the chakras. Everything. It all can be affected by having an overactive chakra or an underactive chakra. All different things can happen. Because your bottom three chakras are more based on your physical self. Your heart chakra, well, like the top three chakras are more for your spiritual self, like your crown chakra and everything. And the heart is the one that combines them all together. And I know you've got like an energy flow which goes from your crown chakra down to your base and back up. And it's constantly going back up, back and forth all day. A certain, like, I don't know sure the time wise, but it does. If it gets blocked, that's when you can have major problems with your health and your emotional well-being. And that is what I've been doing, is clearing that, helping to sort that out. And honestly, I didn't realize how much of a difference it can make in people's lives. It really can. From a woman who woke up with, I think, used to wake up with anxiety every single day because she had trouble breathing and stuff, to waking up one day and think, oh, no, I'm anxious. I feel fine. I feel great. Stuff like that, you know, it's just absolutely crazy. But there was something I'm going to say. Yeah, to Michael, to do what he was showing about the mediumship side of the circle. I have done that as well. And my teacher, she is a medium. And she says, when you start off as a medium, you communicate with the other side, or dead people then, so on like that. But some mediums can develop to the point, and she is one of them, where they communicate with the divine directly, like angels and spiritual guides, stuff like that. And she's one of them people. She's absolutely amazing. And I was actually trying to help someone the other day who had brain injury, which causes different illnesses. And I communicate with the divine. I've always had that gift for a long time. I've had that ability. And I was just told basically to tell her, but to go back to the timeline to before she had her accident and to focus how she felt because somehow, I don't know how it all works, that can affect her current self. And I don't know how it does and how it all works, that I don't understand. But the information that I was given, it was like came down in one big download. It was like, I can't type this out. It was just like, I could see it all. It took me a day before I could process it, so I could actually type out what I had to tell her. There was other things as well, but that was the main gist of it. But in respect of Robot Hunters, he's put a comment there, you can perceive more than you can understand. That is actually true, because I had that information to give to her, but I couldn't just write it. I couldn't just say, oh, I just got told this, because I couldn't repeat it. I had to downgrade it so I could get to my language so I could send it to her. You know what I mean? I could receive it, but I couldn't communicate it. It took me a day before I could communicate it. But and that is because obviously up there, they're on much higher vibrations than what we are. So when they communicate to us, I don't know if they lower their vibration to speak to us at times. I don't know how that, or if they just put it in a way that we will get it, but we've just got to and that's how I perceive it with consciousness. And there's various levels. Animals are a higher consciousness than generally human beings. Even though we think, oh, we can talk, animals know so much. They just, as you said, intuitive. They know when to go to fly to certain parts of the world to migrate. They know it's in them. They know how to do it. They know it. Like they're in tune with nature. And we used to be in tune with nature, but because of humans being humans and the way technology's gone, we've lost so much over the thousands of years we've been around. And part of getting it back is, as you might see on the internet about the fifth density, is getting back to nature's consciousness. So the consciousness, the frame of mind, so to speak, that we used to have before all this war and technology and religion and whatever came along and ruined everything. We're getting back to that. And some people are already doing it. Some people are in the process of doing it. But that is part of the evolvement of the human race, especially people who are highly spiritual and stuff. That is their development, is to get to a level of consciousness that is they didn't have 10 years ago, because they're evolving, as I've evolved, I have realized just how important nature is to us. I feel connected to it more, and I realize how special it is. It's like, if you believe in God, or I don't know if you do, I almost feel like nature's like God's subconscious, almost. That's why I really feel it's really important. And see mankind destroying it like they're doing, and the way they treat it and stuff, and it's just crazy. And I think nature will react. They'll go so far, and nature will react. And some form, it'll come along and wipe out half of mankind in some form, because they're just bringing it on themselves.
Yeah, they do.
The show I recommend to see, if you haven't already seen it, is The Rig on Amazon Prime. That is one with on this subject as well, about consciousness. That's well worth checking out if you get a chance to see it.
The Rig?
The Rig, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, very good. On this subject, it actually links to the subject, actually. And so, yeah, that's all I got to say.
Yeah, the apparatus that we're given to measure what's going on around us is faulty, though.
Yeah.
It doesn't see everything. It sees what we're allowed to see. For example, the eye. If you stretch the light frequencies out, it will go from, let's say, Land's End to John O'Groats, and our eyes allow us to see 1 inch in the middle. And it's the same with the hearing. And they actually produced a little box called a mosquito for what I'm about to tell you, and they retailed it. Your hearing goes from 20 hertz, which is the lowest frequency it can hear. Below that, you feel it in your chest, or you feel it, the hairs on the back of your neck will stand up, but you can't hear it. And the highest frequency that humans can hear is 20 kilohertz. Well, that's lovely up until the age of 8 to 10, you can hear 20 kilohertz. And then from the age of 10 onwards, the top end of your hearing starts diminishing. The bottom end doesn't move. You can still hear 20 hertz.